Good. Well, I want to say good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Jerry Shockey. I oversee all the educational programs here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and you're connected to us. I'm coming live from Canton, Ohio, and we have Hall of Famer Willie Brown joined in from California, and we're participating in a program that we just started about a year ago called Heart of a Hall of Famer. And the real idea behind this is to portray what it took to get in the Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. We know that these players are great examples of amazing athleticism and skill, but really at the core, what got them there is their character. Because one thing that can be said about most of our Hall of Famers, that if their God-given ability wasn't in football, that they would have gone on to be Hall of Famers in whatever life endeavor they would have chosen, whether it was in coaching, as Mr. Brown has, whether it was in plumbing, whether it was in teaching, whether the technology, whatever it might have been. Because at their core, is their character, are those 6 pillars that you guys are studying and researching and examining, the trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, careness, and citizenship. And so you guys have the opportunity to share with one of the greatest players that has ever played in the National Football League and ask not only what made him a success on the field, but what made him a success off the field, and tackle those, no pun intended, but tackle those core character things that take place that are so instrumental to being successes in everything that we do in our lives. But before we do that, and before I ask Mr. Brown to have his opening remarks, there's a bunch of folks we need to thank, because without them, this connection wouldn't be possible. First of all, we have to thank our friends. It's the second year in a row we've worked with Kings County Office of Education in Kings County, California. Trista and Parker, and I've met their assistant superintendent and superintendent, and great folks out there. For you teachers that are there, go to Kings County Office of Education under the video conferencing section. Not only do they support their county and their state, but they're a content provider, national content provider as well. They have great content. They really, especially for a school or for anyone, I'm kind of jealous of their studios that they have there. They have some amazing equipment, TriCasters, things like that. They have some amazing equipment and technology in that school, and a lot of resources to branch out to schools all across the country. So thank you, Parker and Trista, for traveling up the coast and setting up your little studio there in Alameda. So thank you. And we also have to thank our friends at the Oakland Raiders, Matthew Pasco and Scott Fink. I've worked with Scott for a few years now with the Raiders, and thank you for opening your doors and allowing us to have some folks from Kings County come up and do these programs with you guys. So we're excited to be able to do that. And then obviously, as always, those of you that have joined in this broadcast numerous times now, these different programs, we got to thank our friends at eTech Ohio. They are the tech support for this bridge that's connecting all the schools together. Many of you have worked with them in the past. Aaron and Derek and Michelle and Josh. We'd be remiss if we didn't thank you guys, because you guys are doing troubleshooting all the technological things that go on behind the scenes. So thanks to you. Most importantly, though, we need to thank the schools and the teachers. Thank all the teachers. It's amazing how many different folks are involved with these. The teachers, the tech coordinators, the librarians, the assistant superintendents, all the different people and folks that are involved, whether it's at the school level or the district level. I want to say thank you for agreeing to do this and doing all the preparatory work beforehand to do this. And then we obviously want to thank the students, because without you guys doing the work and compounding the questions, this wouldn't be possible. But with that being said, I would like to recognize those schools that are participating, so all the other schools that are connected can see where the schools are coming from, and also Mr. Brown can see who he's connecting with here today. So when I do recognize your school, you can feel free at that point to unmute your mics and go ahead and give a shout or a scream or a cheer or whatever it is that you would like to do at that point. So first, we're going to stay in the home state of California with Mr. Brown there. JFK Junior High, can you say hello?
Yeah!
Okay, thank you, JFK. Not too bad. Not a good start to that. Go ahead and mute your mics, JFK. And let's go all the way across the state to Maine. Let's go to Islesboro, Maine. That was pretty weak, Islesboro. Let's do better than that.
Want us to try again?
1, 2, 3. Go again.
Hello?
Okay, little bit better. Okay, thank you, Islesboro. Go ahead and mute your mics there. If we can go to just north of us here, home of Brown's Training Camp, Berea, Ohio, can we go to Ford Middle School? Are you there? Maybe they're a little nervous with all the enthusiasm here. We'll come back to Ford Middle School here in just a moment. Let's go to the south of us, Dayton, Ohio, southwest of us. Let's go to Meadowdale.
Hi.
Okay, that's pretty good for the number. You guys made up in what you lacked in quantity, you made up for in quality. There we go. Very good. Thank you very much, Meadowdale. And let's stick in Dayton, Ohio. We've got 3 other schools that are connecting as a view-only group. Wogaman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wogaman. Go ahead and use your mics there. Can we go to Wow at Residence Park?
Hello.
Okay, thank you, Wow. And then let's lastly go to, but definitely not least, let's go to Kaiser.
Hello.
I think Kaiser, I don't know, Kaiser might have taken that. Between them and JFK, I'm not sure. So thank you for all the schools for participating. We will ask you to keep your mics muted throughout the broadcast until you are called upon. But that leads me into our introduction of our guest speaker before I ask him for his opening remarks. And I'd like to give you guys a little bit of information about Hall of Famer Willie Brown. He was born December 2nd, 1940 in Yazoo City, Mississippi. He was, now get this is important sign into his early character in the NFL. He was undrafted and cut by the Oilers. Now think about that. Hall of Famer, originally got cut, obviously faced some barriers there. Joined the Broncos in 1963. He was all AFL in his second season. So just 2 seasons after being, cut and undrafted, went on to an all AFL, which was the rival league against the National Football League during the 60s. He was traded to the Raiders in 1967. He was known for being fast, mobile, and aggressive. He was all AFL, AFC 7 times. He was all-time part of the all-time AFL team in 1969. So that was the best players from that league during those 10 years that they existed. He played in 5 AFL All-Star games, 4 AFC NFC Pro Bowls, 9 AFL AFC title games, and 2 Super Bowls. His career totals include 54 interceptions, 472 yards, 2 touchdowns, and one of his most historic catches was a 75-yard interception in Super Bowl 11. Now that's a little bit about his on-the-field achievements and accolades, but let's look at his off-the-field, because I think you'll be just as amazed as to some of the things he's been able to do off the field as well. Get this, Mr. Brown is in his 40th year with the Oakland Raiders and 16th year as director of squad development. He was a secondary coach for the Raiders from 1979 to 1988, during which the team won 2 world championships of professional football and Super Bowls 15 and 18. He also coached the secondary in 1997 while serving as director of squad development. Brown was an assistant at Long Beach State before taking over as head coach in 1991. In 1994, he was head coach at Los Angeles Jordan High School. Now get this, all the things that he's done, the coaching accolades, the playing accolades, even beyond that, he still continued to pursue further, and he did so. Brown earned his master's degree in education at Long Beach State as well. So here's someone that's a great example of someone who's achieved both on the field and off the field as well. But what I'd like to show you guys a little bit of a film, take you back into Mr. Brown's early days here, and let's take a quick look at a snippet of Mr. Brown during his playing days.
He intercepted an NFL record 4 passes in a single game during his second season. But none were more historic than the one he picked off in Super Bowl 11.
And he looks and throws. Intercepted by the Oakland Raiders. Willie Brown at the 30, 40, 50. He's going all the way. Old man Willie. Touchdown
If you could all join me and unmute your mics for the time being, and please join me in giving a warm round of applause to Class of 1984 Hall of Fame inductee, Willie Brown. Mr. Brown, if we could have all the schools mute their mics for the time being. Mr. Brown, the microphone is yours for your opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Let me just say that by starting off, I do appreciate you kids taking the time out to do this, not only for me, but all across the world, that people can see and understand what we're trying to do. It's important to know that I had a lot of help in order to get in the Hall of Fame from a lot of teammates, and guys that I played with, they contribute quite a bit to my success in terms of the things that I have achieved in trying to, help people on and off the football field. It was very important today, in my eyesight, is that your character and all those kind of things is very important in the National Football League today, also with the Oakland Raiders. So again, thank you guys for participating.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Brown. And what I want to encourage you students to do, we want to give plenty of time here. We're going to do a Q&A section. You will notice that when you're talking and switching back and forth, there will be a little delay in the video, but the audio should always be instantaneous. And what I encourage you guys to do is obviously your teachers have pre-submitted your questions as well, but you guys have the opportunity to ask one of the greatest football players that has ever played in the National Football League. You think of some of the great players that you watch in the NFL today, whether it's the Peyton Mannings or the Brett Favres or the Charles Woodsons or whoever they are, they aspire to be in his shoes and be a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I'd suspect, as the case is with most of our Hall of Famers, because of their successes off the field, that they would probably aspire to be in his shoes off the field as well, because of the success. Being able to spend 40 years in the National Football League is quite an accomplishment within itself. So you guys have the opportunity to ask those questions about what adversity they faced, what obstacles, what character things they think are most important. Because one thing we want you guys to realize is that Mr. Brown is just like you. He sat in the classroom, probably didn't get to connect through video conferencing in his day, and didn't definitely in my day, but technology's changed a little bit, but he was a student just like you guys, and came from the same, as they say, the old saying that, put your pant leg on one leg at a time. He puts his pant leg on one leg at a time too. He's just like the rest of us, and you have an opportunity to learn from this gentleman, to learn what's made him great both on and off the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to work in the order. So JFK, start thinking of your questions because you're first. We're going to go in the order, and we'll try to rotate through as many times as we can for the next 45 minutes that we have here. We're going to go with JFK, then Islesboro, then Ford Middle School, then Meadowdale, and then Prairie Farm. So that'll be the order of the questions. Each school will get an opportunity to ask 2 questions, and then we'll rotate through as many times as possible. And then Wilgum, Weil, and Kaiser, you guys are joining in as a view-only school. One thing we will ask schools is after their question, even if it's still going to be if it's their first question, even after that question, if you can mute the mics, just so we can minimize any background noise as Mr. Brown is sharing his remarks. Sound good? Okay.
Yeah, to me it does.
Silence sounds good. So there we go. So let's go to JFK, right there in California. If you guys have some questions for Mr. Brown, go ahead.
What character qualities did it take for you to be successful in life and where you are now?
Very good question. Jason, is it? Jason, I think it was. But
No, JFK.
JFK's.
okay, JFK, and what is your name that who asked the question?
Kevin.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good. You guys are good-looking guys right there. There are a lot of things that help me with my character. I think that most important thing that who helped you build your, and I'm going to use the term parachute, okay? Who you trust in packing your parachute, all right? Now, follow me now. In packing your parachute, there are a lot of individuals who contribute towards your success, meaning I would trust my high school coach, I would trust my college coach, I would trust the Raider organization, particularly Mr. Al Davis. They are the one who gave me the training way back when I was your age or even younger, who packed my parachute, meaning who helped develop my character. And I learned from those particular individuals, particularly my high school coach. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be the guy who can help others. I want to be the guy who bring you to your home and put his arms around you. And surely my mom and dad helped pack my parachute. So put together parachute and character. They are the one who helped develop my character, because I live by the things they taught me when I was your age or even earlier. So very important to know your surrounding. Who impact your life? Who is that individual person that helped you be the person you are today? And those guys helped me quite a bit, because had not been for my father and my mom, of course, my high school coach, who started molding me and developing me and wanted to be a good citizen a good student and a good child growing up to be where I am today. Okay? Kevin, you like that? Yeah, I like
Thank
it. You're welcome.
Go ahead, JFK, with your second one.
What was a moment that you remember that you used character on the field?
There are a lot of moments when I was a defensive captain of the Oakland Raiders for 10 years. And I was captain in high school. I was captain in college. When you see things not going the way they should, you step up, be the guy to help smooth over things that is not going correctly or not doing the proper procedure. And when you see someone, and being a captain, you have that right to kind of recommend them. You have the right to grab them by the shirt collar and tell them, this is not right. This is not the type of character that I see in you. You are not that type of individual. So why are you doing those kind of things? So you kind of embarrass a guy, on the field, try to get himself back on track, because for the betterment of your teammates and your family who's there watching you play. So all those things are important when you're on the football field. Your character on the football field should be the same as off the football field.
And
Okay.
Thank you, JFK, for that question. And what's really important.
Thank you.
He was voted team captain, and looking at your 6 core pillars, especially trustworthiness and respect. If they did not trust Mr. Brown, if they did not respect Mr. Brown because of the way he carried himself, he would have never been appointed team captain. So, those are two pillars that are at the core of that allowed him to be team captain. So, thank you, JFK. We'll go all the way across the country to Maine. The folks at Islesboro, go ahead with your 2 questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for meeting with us today. My name is Vicki Conover. I'm a teacher here in Islesboro. And I just wanted to let you know that this is a class of 11th and 12th grade accounting students. So many of our questions for you, while we have tried to really work through the whole curriculum on the character traits, we've also have some questions that lean more towards the business aspect of your career as well. That's just a little preface. So our first student is Claire Boucher.
How did being a player in the NFL prepare you for managing large sums of money in a responsible way?
Good morning, Claire. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Well, growing up, one of the most important things growing up, I didn't have a lot of money. I have supported myself when I was in probably 3rd or 4th grade, going out doing little jobs here and there. And that's how what kind of helped me how to manage money, how to save money, how to buy certain things that is needed. So you kind of put yourself on a budget somewhat, because I had little odd jobs doing this, cutting lawns and doing this, doing all those kind of jobs, painting, all those kind of things. So I knew that if I wanted to have certain things at the beginning of school, like buying new jeans, new shirts, new tennis shoes, I had to put a certain amount of money aside, to buy those particular things, because of my parents couldn't. I come from a family with 7 boys and 2 girls, so you kind of get out on your own and you do certain things. You go out and find certain jobs so you can have a little income, so you can help your family. So managing money started early in my life, how to spend money on certain particular things. And so when I started playing pro football, I didn't make a whole lot of money, but I made more than I made when I was in high school, in college, of course. But I started going back to the things that helped me learn those particular things when I at an early age. So when I came to the pros, I said, well, okay, I got a certain amount of money for a car, certain amount of money to try to get an apartment or get a house, certain amount of money for gasoline, particularly where gas is today. Back in my day, you can get a gallon of gasoline for 25 cents. So you start managing your money all the way through your early years, all the way through the pros, because number one, that in the National Football League, the average career for a professional football player is 3.5 years. Now, I was fortunate enough to play 16 years, but and I learned how to manage my money all that particular time, you know, going through year by year and making All-Pro, and surely you make more money when you're making All-Pro and playing the Pro Bowl, but you still go back to the thing that you learned early in your young adulthood, is that how to manage your money, how to save for the future, and put some away. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Jay, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is DJ, and
Hey,
my
DJ.
question is- how's it going? My question is, your career involved the time before collective bargaining and after the NFL Players Union was formed. Given the current situation involving players and management, and now that you're a part of the management of a team, how do you feel about the fairness of salaries of starting players and salary caps?
Good question. Early in my career, no, you're right. We didn't have a collective bargaining agreement. We guess it's a free fall. You know, you just get out there and play and do whatever you got to do. But later on, then we decided to do things the correct way, the right way, so you can have a pension, so you can have more money to put away as you play. It's important to know that there should be a salary cap, particularly on the first year guys coming in, first year, second year. There should be a cap in my thinking, because why pay a guy $1 million to come to the Oakland Raiders and he have not put on a shoulder pad or a knee pad or a hip pad or whatever, not one day. So you're giving him $1 million, but you got guys on your team who's in their third, fourth year only making $200,000. So you paying this guy who never done anything in professional football, you paying him all this money, but yet still you refuse to pay a guy who's been on your team more than him. So I think it's a good thing to have a salary cap for the younger players, and give the money to the guys who have played for you, who have earned a right to be on the National Football League team, who have played in the Pro Bowl, who've been in the Super Bowl, and all those kind of things. Why not pay that player the money and let the young players who come in, let them earn their way? Eventually, they will get there if they're a good player. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And
You're
thank you,
welcome.
Alvaro. And I think one thing to note, and probably why you guys did this class as well, even though you're an accounting class, but did this program, is all the remarks that Mr. Brown has shared with you guys, they all still tie back to, they're all character related. I mean, you know, all these, you know, how to fairly, disperse, the revenue that's generated in the National Football League amongst these teams, these, billion-dollar organizations. So all this still boils down into, character, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility. These are all things that dive deeply into it. We just did a program not too long ago with a Hall of Famer by the name of Willie Lanier. And one of the issues that he serves on a committee with the National Football League is this whole concussion thing, as we're all aware of, with James Harrison's fines and all this stuff. And he kind of had a light bulb moment as I was sharing these 6 pillars. He said, these are questions of character issues, with this. So, and instilling the right characters in these players to realize, how to approach the game and how to be aggressive, but not try to, maliciously hurt anyone or anything like that. So, again, these all are things that tie back into character issues. So, let's go ahead and go to just north of us. Hopefully they are connected. Hopefully they're in. Berea, are you guys there? Ford Middle School? Okay, we'll come back to them in just a moment. Let's go to Dayton, Ohio. Meadowdale.
My name is Kaylee Howell. I'm from Meadowdale, and I'm in 7th grade. My question is, what are some ways to resolve amusements with other teammates?
I didn't get the last, say that again.
What are some
What?
ways you resolve amusements with other teammates?
What?
Yeah, could you say that? Could you speak closer to the mic? We couldn't hear you.
What are some ways you resolve amusements with other teammates?
Amusement?
I think resolve issues with other teammates.
Arguments.
Arguments.
Oh,
Okay.
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 With other teammates, that's a good question. When you're elected captain, you have a lot of authority, and players trust your authority by doing certain things. If there are some issues between a player it wasn't nothing for me to jump right in the middle of it and grab one by the chest and grab the other one by the neck and and say, hey, look, guys, you know, we don't do that here with the Raiders. We are a team. You stick together as a team. If there are some issue between the two of you, let's sell it out of the locker room, off the football field, and we'll sell it. But you cannot have a solid nucleus of a team if there's some dickering, if there's a problem on the team. And I have seen that. But guys try to solve their issues off the football field. Nothing carry on. Once you're on the football field, you're a team. Off the football field, you try to maintain that development and maintain that role of being who you are. And I think one of the things that have helped the Raiders over the years and in my career is that being able to do something as a group and being able to do something as a team. What we usually do on a Tuesday night, the whole team, players, we get together and go to a restaurant. We have dinners. We have dinner together. We sit down and just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Then some days on a Monday when later on, our particular group, all the defensive backs get together. And we go shopping, we go out to a restaurant, we go have lunch, all those kind of things. So it wasn't anything that stopped me from grabbing a guy, telling the guy he's wrong when he's wrong. You know, just because you see a person doing something wrong, there's nothing wrong with telling the guy, this is wrong. You don't treat a young lady like that. You don't treat a girl like that. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be a person to stand up what you believe in and believe that if there's a problem, you know, get it solved. If there's a problem with one of your teammates, get it solved, because you'll be a better football player on the field as well as be a better person off the football field. So you develop those things. And that's one thing about football. Football teaches you those things, is to appreciate your teammates, appreciate the coaching staff, and appreciating the value of how to treat another person. And that's been one of the biggest problems with young people growing up, is that, particularly your age, is that you know something is wrong. Nothing wrong with correcting that person. Tell them this is wrong. You know, you don't do those kinds of things. Okay? You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Brown brings up a great point too, that about the parallels of football and life. You know, one part of our mission here at the Hall of Fame is to promote the positive values of the sport. And all the things that Mr. Brown just shared with you of how he dealt with things as a team, we as a team here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame deal with them the same way. Let me backtrack. I've never had my helmet grabbed and rung by our executive director, Steve Perry here. But nonetheless, if there's a problem, he's going to come and talk to me about it so we can work better as a team, as individuals perform better, and ultimately make our team a better success here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So football is a perfect microcosm of everyday life. Meadowdale. Another one.
Okay. My name is Mark Martinez. I'm in the 8th grade, and my question is, what are your major life strengths and weaknesses?
Okay, Mark, how are you today?
I'm good.
I think my strength is being able to communicate with people and having respect for other people. I think that's very important, because of if I see something that is not right, I will be a person that stand up and tell you, you know, right away. And I think that's my strength, being able to communicate with any group of people, young people, you know, older people, whatever. That's been my thing all along, is that I believe in something, I stick by it, but I am a person who like to listen rather than dictate all the time, and I think that's important. When you in your group, there are a certain group of kids that like to hang together, maybe 3 or 4 kids hanging together. Don't be the one who dictate. You know, be willing to listen and understand what that particular person is saying, and respect what he believes in. But when you know he is right, he's right. When he's wrong, or whatever. You develop that, and you learn that over the years. Now, going back to what I said earlier about packing your parachute, there are individuals who helped you pack those parachutes, who helped you develop your character. So don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in, but don't think your way is the only way. Don't think your way is the right way all the time. Be willing to listen, be willing to take ideas, and to understand that person, and respect how that particular person feels. Good? Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
Meadowdale. Let's go.
Thanks,
Let's go to
sir.
Wisconsin. Prairie Farm.
Hi.
Good morning.
Morning. Oh, what did you have to do to get into the pros?
That's a good question. What I had to do to get into pros? Well, let's backtrack for a moment. When I was coming out of high school, I had one goal in mind. That goal was to be a high school football coach. I had no idea I even thought about playing professional football. When I got to college, I went to Grambling University, got my degree. Now I was looking forward to going and find me a nice little high school in a school like Prairie Farm to go and coach and help develop young people's character and be a leader of the world today. So I trained in college and doing all those kind of things, but the opportunity came up where they saw some things in me to be a pretty good football player, I guess. So I signed a contract with the Houston Oilers, and I started working, during off season before I got to training camp, running and exercising, trying to do all those things like that. But I had no desire to play professional football until the day I signed a contract to play professional football. But I wanted to be a high school coach all of my life, and that was my number one goal.
Prairie Farm, you got a head coaching vacancy there? Maybe you can lure Mr. Brown to Wisconsin. Go ahead, Prairie Farm. You got another one?
Hello.
Good morning.
Who was your biggest role model when you were young?
Well, probably my biggest role model was my father and my high school coach. My high school coach particularly because I was with him probably more than I was with my father because of, the number of hours that I spent at school with him, because I ran track. He was a track coach, played football, was a football coach, and played basketball. He was a basketball coach. So he was probably the biggest role model that I had because I even walked like him. I wanted to walk like him. He was kind of pigeon-toed you a little bit, so I started walking pigeon-toed. And I see how you walk around with his chest up and head and shoulders back. I would do the same thing. So that's the kind of person that I wanted to be. And, and then from there was my role model was Eddie Robinson. Eddie Robinson, who was the head coach at Grambling University. I wanted to be like him. And we had guys who come back during the off season from professional football when I was in college. They come back and work with us. Emmett Tennell. Emmett Tennell is also another Hall of Famer who would come to Grambling University to help during spring training, to help develop us and show us the things that they were doing in the pro. See, so all those particular individuals I say contribute towards my being a person to choose them as a role model.
Thank you, Prairie Farm. And to give you guys a little historical lesson, when Mr. Brown joined the National Football League, or the AFL, the American Football League, the AFL was really instrumental. Mr. Brown faced obstacles that African-American players don't face today, and that's the opportunity to play professional football. And the AFL was very instrumental. Go ahead, Mr. Brown, I'm sorry.
No, you want me to just hit on that a little bit, and then
go ahead about the AFL and drafting from predominantly black schools like Grambling.
They'll be shocked if you can imagine going and playing professional football during my early days. How the American Football League came about. When I was my first year in pro football, we had an exhibition game in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I was with the Houston Oilers. Okay, we broke training camp to fly to Shreveport, Louisiana to play a preseason game against the New York Jets. We on one charter plane. We landed in Shreveport. Okay, we got off the plane. There's a black guy standing on the side of the plane by a station wagon, and they had 4 or 5 buses on the left. So as we got off the plane, they direct all the black players to the station wagon and all the white players to the buses. So we kind of looked around and see what's going on. So it was okay, where are we going? So they take us off the plane. We got in the station wagon. We drove to a predominantly black neighborhood in Shreveport, Louisiana, and the white players got on the bus and they went another direction. So we got to the hotel, and black hotel, of course, and we was looking, we didn't know, had no idea because no one had told us what was going on. So there in the hotel, we're looking around and nobody there to give us any direction. So we guess hung out all evening. So the next morning, this guy was there knocking on the door saying that, the game was the next day. So we got back in the station wagon, went to the stadium, and that's the first time we had seen the white player since we landed in Shreveport. And once we got there, we say, and the white players asking, well, where you guys been? What happened to you guys? So we said, hey, man, we have no idea. They took us to the hotel, we stayed there, and here we are. And we had no idea what they was doing until it happened, that particular time. But to make a long story short is this: what happened was that we didn't have the luxury the guys have today. For example, when you playing in a town, we played New Orleans, Louisiana one time, and we had to go around the backside and take the service elevator to go to your room. You couldn't go through the lobby of the hotel. You could not get a cab to take you where you wanted to go during that time. You want to go across town and go to a club or something, they dropped you 2 or 3 blocks away. And they tell you that you can't take this particular elevator, in the hotel. So all those things kind of happened, and finally Al Davis, who was coaching at San Diego, they got together and said, look, this is not right. We would not stand for this kind of action. The San Diego Chargers went to a movie theater there in Houston, Texas one time, and they would not let the black players in. They want to separate them. They had balcony. They put the black players up in the balcony and white players down below. So the whole team walked out and said, no, we are not doing this. So they came out and left. So, but back in the early 60s, there was only 3 or 4 black ball players in the whole league back in the early 50s and 40s, So the American Football League started by having a guy like Al Davis and Sid Gibbon to come in and say, okay, if we want to compete against the National Football League, we need to go in the predominant black schools and get those great skilled players out of those particular black schools. So they started drafting players, started signing players in the American Football League. And they came in, and now the American Football League was able to compete against the National Football League because we had speed, we had this, we had all those kind of things. Even the name on the back, people take it for granted about the name of the player on the back of his jersey. Well, the American Football League was the first one started, putting the names on the back of the jersey. And they were saying, look, for these guys in the American Football League, you want to watch some football, you watch these guys in the American Football League. I mean, they can score some points. So that's how we started getting the crowd and the fans to come and watch the National Football League and the American Football League, because now we have a chance to compete against those guys, and fans loved it. But it was tough, because when you go to, in my case, when you go play for a team like the Houston Oilers, who signed me as a free agent, they only had 2 blacks on the team. Then when I came in, there was 3 of us. So the first thing people were saying all across the world, or in particular in Houston, said that, well, one of you guys is going to get cut, and because you have uneven numbers. You only can have 2 or 4 or 6 or whatever. You got to have even number, because you need a roommate. So next thing you know, I was cut. I was gone because of, that particular reason. So they only had 2 players back in '63 at the time when I was there. They only had two black players, and then Denver picked me up, of course. But I mean, things like that happen not only to me, but throughout the whole league, about the challenge and the things that you had to overcome in order to be, where I am today, or be where a lot of players are today, because they had to endure a lot. They tell you that you had to ride the back of the bus. You can't do this, you can't do that as a black player. and you see the white players doing it, and the white players got upset about it just as much as we did, because we were a team. And as a team, you stick together and you believe in each other, and you cannot understand what's going on until you see those particular things happen. And there are a lot more to it, but for time's sake,
we could do a 3-hour program on that.
We sure can.
And but just to fast forward for you guys, the AFL and NFL eventually merged into the two leagues, as you guys know, the AFC and the NFC. Those were the respective leagues at that time. Obviously, teams like the Raiders and Broncos and Oilers and other teams, New York Titans or the Jets, were a part of that AFL group that eventually merged. Because of their success, because of the success of athletes like Hall of Famer Willie Brown. So thank you, Willie, for sharing that. I know that's something that's very near and dear to your heart. And let's go back to the top. JFK, do you have a couple more questions? We've got about 20 minutes left. We'll get through another round, I think.
What character do you think was the most important during your career? How did you show this?
Characters is wide area. When you talk about character, is what is character to me is this. It's what you do when no one else is watching. That's what character is to me. When no one is watching you, what are you doing? Are you willing to do things that are out of bounds, things that is not true to your character? You follow me? So it's what you do when no one is watching. That is your character, and that's where you try to develop your character. And your character is out of line when you see something ordinary, something that is not done before by you. You say, well, that's out of character for him. I know that's not him. He's not doing those kind of things because I know his character. He's not like that. You see what I'm saying? For example, if you walking down the hallway and you pinch a girl on the neck or pinch a boy on his neck, and you say, yeah, why is he doing that? That's not him. He usually a pretty straightforward guy. And you see him do something out of the ordinary, then that's where you say that's totally out of his character to do something like that. Okay? Go ahead.
Go ahead, JFK.
Hello.
Hello.
When you were cut from the Oilers, how did that make you grow as a person?
Well, number one, when I was cut by the Oilers, I really couldn't believe it that I got cut, because I had one ball caught on me in 6 games, and when they cut me, I was kind of bitter because of the way I had played, and couldn't believe it, and other guys on the team couldn't believe that I got cut too. So it made me kind of bitter in terms of why they treated me the way they did, because I was black and playing in a white guys, the white boys game, and I was bitter towards them because they let me go, and I knew that I was a better defensive back than they had on the team. So that's why every time we played Houston, I tried to intercept many passes that I could get. Well, I couldn't wait to play Houston because of what they done to me, and I look forward to it because every time we played Houston, they have a big write-up in the front page talking about Willie Brown coming to town, So and they always talk about how they treated me and how well I have done when I left the Oilers, and so I was kind of bitter because of the way they did and the way they treated me, and I knew that I was a better player than what they saw. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think that's important to note because we all have, negative experiences in life and that challenge our character, that challenge our integrity, that challenge our morals, our ethics, our principles, all those kinds of things. But, he chose to utilize that as an experience to improve himself and make him work harder, and probably utilize the same response he gave to the last question you guys asked. Probably when he was not being watched, when he wasn't being looked at, he was running more hills, doing more wind sprints, doing more workouts to make himself better. So the next time he comes back, and when he comes back to Houston, he can intercept four balls, so that kind of thing. So, that's important to note that, we all encounter these types of adversity, and maybe not quite the same that Mr. Brown did, in regards to race, and maybe we do in some cases, some of you have. But how we choose to respond.
Another point too is that when something happened, is there's a setback in your life, things like that would make you work harder. Would made me work harder. I said, well, I got to work harder. If they don't believe in me and don't trust me, doing the things that I think I can do. So now you have goals. You set goals. Say, okay, I see what I need to do. I need to work on this. I need to work on that in order to be a football player. So particularly when I started, one of the big not setback, but one of the things, the challenge in my life as a football player was coming up being tight end and linebacker in college. And then when I get to the Houston Oilers, the first night they gave me a playbook, say, you're a defensive back. Well, now you're talking about a challenge. I never played defensive back until I came to the Oilers. In the first day, I was backpedaling, falling down, and doing all those kind of things. But when practice was over, I stayed out to practice at least 35, 45 minutes, just working on things as a defensive back, and getting wide receivers of the Oilers, run some pass pattern on me, show me how you're trying to beat me, set me up, do anything you want to do. So then, as for your young kids to know, when you see people playing bump and run, we call tight coverage, when the guy defensive back is close to the receiver. I am the one who developed that technique and playing bump and run. First one ever played it. The Houston Oilers, nobody else had never seen it. When I get close to a guy and grab him by the chest and sling him and throw him down and keep him from going upfield. And so now everybody's playing bump and run, of course. But I was the very best that ever played it. That's what they say. Thank you very much. But anyway, I had fun developing that technique, and a lot of guys learned it and developed it. Matter of fact, a lot of pro teams wanted me to train their defensive back how to play bump and run.
And that can be applied to everything that you heard him say. He had to work when practice was over, work even more. We all have weaknesses in our life. You might have a class that you struggle in or a test that's coming up. Finding the help, working harder. You might have to, put a couple hours in after school to work with a tutor or work with your teacher or whoever it might be. These things relate to everything that we're talking about in regards to character. So thank you for the questions, JFK. Let's go back to Maine. Albro, do you have a couple more questions?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Blaze, and my question is, as Jerry pointed out, character is important on and off the field. Do you believe that you were treated fairly by management and agents in terms of your earnings and you being a marketable product, and as a result, has this influenced the way you do your job?
Well,
putting you on the spot.
I believe that. Well, I believe that is this: if you sign a contract with a person, doesn't have to be pro ball, it could be whatever. If you sign that contract with a person, you live by that contract, whatever it is. Now, if a guy coming in making more money, making this, making that, at your position or someplace, hey, more power to him. Because you agreed upon the contract, you agreed upon it, you got to live by it. And that's where I feel. I feel that in my mind, I may not have thought that this person should be making more money than I'm making because he's not playing. He's on the bench. He's making $200,000 sitting down playing behind me, and I'm making $100,000. So is that fair? It's fair because I signed a contract to do it, and I'm gonna live by that contract, whatever the contract is. Now, if a guy can negotiate and make more money, more power to him. But is it fair? No, probably not fair. But you believe what you believe. You understand what I'm saying? So if I sign a contract for $100,000, I'm gonna live by that contract. If another guy come in and sign for $200,000, same position, more power to him. But is that fair? It's not fair to the person who's making all pro like I've been and paying me $100,000. So surely I will go back and try to negotiate for that next year because the amount of money that I'm making compared to another person who's playing the same positions is making more than I'm making. But that showed me, you know, how things are going, and being in management, and that's where I understand it, because of you live by, and that's part of your character. You know, you say what you say. Your word is your bond. Shaking hand is your bond. You believe in it, and you trust it, and you trust that everything will work out for the best.
Go with another Albero.
My name is Jason Hatch, and I picture the NFL being a lot of hard work and fun with the travel, the camaraderie, money, and especially playing the game that you love. What would you say to a young player who aspires to be a professional athlete?
I would say, number one, to make sure you get your education. Make sure you get your degree. Go to school, go to college, and get all those things. Very important. Now, if you're lucky and fortunate enough to be professional, look, first of all, let me go back. Don't think that, you know, just because you play football in high school and you're going to play professional football. No, probably won't. If you talk about all the kids throughout the whole world who inspire and who want to be a professional football player, you're competing against those guys. So the most important thing is to know that, you know, when you want to be a professional football player, you got to work. You got to work harder than the next guy. When you see one guy, you know, working, when he quit, you keep working. When he sleep, you work. You know, those kind of that's the way it is in National Football League. In particular, at certain position, you got to work harder. Well, you work harder than the other guy. You know, be the guy first one on the field. Be the last guy who lead the field. So you do all those things the right way. And you listen. Take criticism from anybody. Anybody the person could be totally wrong. Your teacher could be totally wrong by teaching you how to play football, but at least you listen to her. Listen to her idea. Listen to anybody. And that's what makes you a better football player, by having an understanding that that person is trying to contribute something towards your development. And hopefully that your development be very good in order for you to play professional football. But don't don't set all your goals, and don't set all your inspiration to be a professional football player, because chances are, you know, you got one shot. You may and you may not make it. But don't put all your marbles in one basket, because it may not work out the way you want them to work out. But understand this: you got to be dedicated. You got to have pride. You got to have conviction. You got to have that driving force in you to be whatever you want it to be. So again, I was fortunate enough to be able to do both. You know, I wanted to be a high school coach. I wanted to play professional football, and I did. I went back to Jordan High School in the L.A. area to be a high school coach. I even coached in college at Long Beach State. So all those goals and things I had in mind, I fulfilled all of those particular things to be the best football player they ever played as a defensive back. That's what they tell me. I was the very best. So come on, guys, you got to laugh on that. But yeah, it's just
here at camp that shows it.
But that's the way it is.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Maine.
You're welcome.
You know, as he said, listen to your teachers and as coaches. Listen to your teachers too. So you've got an accounting teacher or a business teacher behind you that's trying to teach you how to be a better business person, and the same principles can be applied. So, you know, give your teacher a pat on the back and say thank you for trying to make me a better person too. So
exactly.
Let's go to Berea. Berea, did you guys get in there? Ford Middle School. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to Meadowdale. If you got a couple questions, I see we got about 7-8 minutes left.
Hi, my name is Gage. I'm in 7th grade. My question is, what do you think prevented you from getting drafted into the NFL after college?
What prevented me from being drafted?
Yes.
We couldn't.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I don't. You know, one of the things that probably prevented me from not being drafted is that Grambling University had so many great athletes. They had a bunch of them. I mean, when I finished college, okay, all right. When I when I finished my senior year of playing football at Grambling, we had 13 seniors, and all 13 seniors played in the National Football League. And by having so many players coming out of there, and the American Football League was just on the way. I've been in the league for a couple of years then, so there wasn't drafted a lot of black players during that period of time. We had only two players only on my senior year team who got drafted. So, meaning the National Football League was not drafting particular black players. So in the American Football League, the American Football League came in, they started drafting black players. But knowing that how many black players throughout the South that they can get their hands on, they thought that they can get everybody as a free agent rather than being drafted, you know, in the American Football League or the National Football League. So I think that the National Football League and the American Football League had not been in those black schools before, so they had no idea what kind of talent they were talking about or even looking at. So that's why I think that my reason why I wasn't drafted, because of they just wasn't drafting black players that, you know, coming out of predominantly black schools.
And nowadays you have scouts littered all through the SEC conference and everywhere else for NFL athletes. So, Meadowdale, do you have another one?
Hi, my name is Paige. I'm
Hey,
in the
Paige.
8th grade. Hi. What was going through your mind when you intercepted the pass in the Super Bowl and ran it back for a touchdown?
Boy, let me tell you, there are a lot of things going through my mind. I guess got to get to that end zone before I give out.
The conference is about to end.
And I couldn't let anybody catch me. So all I want to do is just run that 75 yards, and the game should be in the bag, because we was leading pretty good. And when I did that, I knew that our chance of winning our first Super Bowl was pretty good. And I was kind of peeking over my shoulder, making sure nobody was gaining and gonna catch me, because I was out of breath by the time you run 75 yards. You're gonna be tired, you know. So my main thing was, don't let anybody catch you, Willie. You run, you keep running, you know. That was pretty good.
Well, thank you,
Thank you, sir.
And that was
You're welcome.
our 5-minute warning with our bridge. But Prairie Farm, do you guys have a last question there? Do you guys are still in? I think Prairie Farm had to depart a few minutes before the broadcast ended. So
How about Wagaman?
I think we'll stop it there. And let's go to. Did somebody say Wagaman?
Yeah, Wagaman has a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Have a last question there, Wagaman. Go ahead.
Go ahead, guys.
My name is Terry. I'm in 7th grade. As being a captain of the defense, how did you feel when your team was dependent on you?
Well, you know, that's a very good question. I felt that it was my responsibility, whether you're winning, you're losing. My responsibility as a captain is to run the ship on the field, and meaning take care of things on the field, make sure you know, all the guys stay in line. I wanted them, if a team wanted to throw a pass my way, I want to be the guy who make the interceptions to stop them. I want to be the guy who stop a guy from running the touchdown, so we have a chance to win. And I knew that the players are looking up to me to do those kind of things. So it was my responsibility as a football player, as a starter, to play hard as I possibly can so we can win. And I knew that they depend on me doing my job as well. I depended upon them to do their job. So it was my responsibility as a captain is to get the most out of my ball players when they're on the football field.
Thank you, Wagaman. And Mr. Brown, can I ask you to have any closing thoughts as we close out the program? We have just a couple minutes left. Any closing thoughts when we talk about those 6 pillars, the fairness and caring and citizenship, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility? Any closing thoughts for these students about how to live their life according to these pillars, or, you know, live in that direction?
Well, yeah, you know, I guess I'd like to say to the whole group is that be your own person. Don't let anyone dictate things to you that you know is wrong. Stand up for what you believe in. and work harder than the average person. And stay in school. Number one thing, stay in school and stay off of drugs. You know, I can guarantee you this, and I can tell you this. I can commit myself that you would never, ever hear me see me using drugs, going out and beating up a lady, and whatever, getting DUIs. You can't afford it because number one, I always told my kids, as my father told me when I was growing up, say your last name is Brown. When you're out there in the world, respect that name, and people respect you. Be who you are. You are a Brown. I told my kids, look, when you leave this house, remember who you are. Your last name is Brown, and that name is pretty good. You've been that way for a long time. So understand that your last name means a lot, and you're not only representing yourself, you're not only thinking about yourself, but you got to think about your family. They the one who suffer when they see you out there doing something wrong, or you getting locked up, or you get using drugs, or you doing the improper thing when you're out there in the world. You cannot do it because you have to live with that. But your parents and your relative is the one who suffer even more than you do because you are letting them down, and that name means a lot. And that's where I always told my kids that you represent me, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, when you're out there involved in something like that. So the most important thing is trust people, believe in them, understand them, and help them, develop them, and your life will be better. And don't think you have to do something that just because your buddy is doing it. You don't have to. Choices. You have a choice to make the right choice and decision. Then if whatever happens, you got to suffer the consequences. If you go out there and do something wrong, you got to be willing to suffer the consequences.